Hello, hi, I'm Sarah from The Upcoming. Such a pleasure to have you here with us. Maybe you could just kick off with a brief introduction to Gassed Up. What can people expect from the film?
Okay, so Gassed Up is a thriller-minute, rollicking, high-octane, cautionary tale with some incredible actors, and I'm so glad to be amongst them.
And what can you tell us about the character that you play?
So I play Roy, who is kind of like a mentor figure to our lead, played by Steve. He's a man who has been through the dark side. He's been to prison. He's now getting his life on track, and he sees Steve, Ash, played by Steve, going along the same path that he went along as a youth, and he's trying his best, softly, to guide him to the right way.
And of course, we read a lot in the newspapers, headlines about these sorts of crimes, on mopeds and things like that. But I've not actually seen a film which kind of goes behind the scenes, trying to discover, why is it that young people perhaps end up in this position? When you first read the script, what excited you about being involved?
I think it's the fact that it's a story for our time. Now, I'm way older than most of the cast, so I haven't been through that. But some of the issues that came up were the same issues that were there when I was growing up as a kid on an estate in South London. One of the great things about this film, and most good cautionary tale films, is not only they show you, of course, that they show you the downside, but they show you why it's so exciting. And the first few acts of this film are so exciting, you kind of think, okay, I can see why they'd be attracted. But what's exciting and what's important about a character like mine is that he has seen the fun and the joy, but he's like, that doesn't last. There is a dark side, and not many people come out the other side. And so to be part of a story that tells that to our young people, I was very excited and thrilled.
And it's such an amazing cast, and particularly this group of young people. They look like, they've been friends forever. But particularly, I guess, working with Steve on this relationship that you have, and you're being that mentor. What was it like working with all these people?
Oh, it's a joy because they are all wonderful actors. And so you find that there's almost a shorthand the minute you start doing lines with him. And particularly with Steve, I first saw him in a movie called Blue Story. And I kind of thought, okay, that kid's got something. But working with Steve, again, is that he's good, he's empathetic, and so you find that there's a shorthand immediately, and then we were able to have a relationship like that.
And in terms of the takeaways from the film, I guess, as we said, it's sort of like looking at the drivers that, put young people into the position where, whether it's trying to raise money for their families or being the point of destitution, a vulnerable position that they get kind of co-opted into these gangs, but also perhaps there's something failing about the system where if we're failing people. What do you think the takeaways might be?
I think there has to be an aspect where we are failing our people, our young people particularly, because we have a situation where we're living in a materialistic world, those trainers, those garments are the things you have to wear, but of course people don't seem to have the means to get them, and they want them because if you don't have them, you're a loser. So suddenly we have it, like in this movie, we have a group of people who go, well, here's a way of doing it. So I look at them and I think they're children who are making a mistake. They're not hardened criminals. What happens to them later on in the film is that they get in over their head. But I do think maybe we have to reset as to what's important in our society. Now, that's easier said than done.
And do you see that films like this are also adding to the conversation, having better representation on screen, telling different stories? Or do you think there's still progress to be made on that front?
There is progress to be made. There always will be. In fact, as long as people like yourself have to ask me that question, that tells me that we still aren't quite where we are. This shouldn't be a matter for discussion that certain voices are telling stories. So it's better today than it was yesterday, but we still have a little bit of way to go. So,
what can you tell us about what you're working on next, what we can see you in next?
So I do a show called House of the Dragon, which is the Game of Thrones spin-off. So we've just finished season 2. We've got to go back and do some enhancements on it, which is why I have a beard. I'm not really a beard person. And that was Olivia from House of the Dragon, who I just saw. So we're doing that, and then we'll start promoting that. I think that's going to be out sometime this summer. So,
how is it working on such a big production like that? Is it quite a contrast to sort of indie film?
It is, in the sense that, of course, there's that much money being thrown around, but ultimately the job is always the same. You look into the eyes of the other actor and try and tell the truth, and so that never changes.
Fantastic. Well, we enjoy the night. Thank you so much.
Thank you.